If you have a huge range of math abilities in your middle school math class and are worried about preparing them for state testing coming up, I got you. If you're a middle school math teacher, keep watching because I'm sharing my exact activities that I use to reach all the different types of learners in my class. If you're new around here, my name is Kathy Martin and I help 6th, 7th, 8th grade and Algebra 1 math teachers experience more aha moments in the classroom and save time and money with their lesson plans and resources. Test prep season is already stressful enough, and trying to make sure we are adequately preparing our students is tough, and having so many types of learners in our classrooms does not help either. So what do we do? How do we reach them? Okay, let's dive in. I'm going to share my screen with you so you can kind of see my exact activities that I use because I'm a visual learner and I think it's quite helpful when you can see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so for our tech loving students, you know the kind, the kids that love the computer, that love a phone, that love a video game. I mean, it's pretty much all of them. But for those that really love tech, this is for them. So I love using technology to work on previous skills because it's engaging, it's just different. They don't have to hear me like talk all day long. Some of my favorites to use are Google Pixel Art, using mystery puzzles, and then playing, which we have inside the Pre-Algebra Teachers Math membership, totally available for you for almost all of our, I think pretty much all of our math concepts using pixel art, digital mystery puzzles, super fun, and then using whole class activities like Kahoot, you could see here, quizzes, Quizlet, Prodigy. I don't know if all of them are free anymore, because to be honest, I haven't used Prodigy in a while. When I did use it, it was free, but I don't use Prodigy a lot because personally, my personal favorite is quizzes, number two on this list. And I know that a lot of people like other things, like there are other things that aren't listed here that a lot of people like. And I'm not saying that those are bad or anything, or I just prefer Kahoot and quizzes. I know that there's Bookit and there's like a couple other things that are not listed, but like I said, they're perfectly great too. I like quizzes personally in my class because I can create a quiz and students are able to, how do I explain? Like they're able to complete each question on their own. Unlike Kahoot, where you like in order to see the next question, everyone in class has to finish the question together and then everyone rolls on to the next question at the same time. I like quizzes because students can work at their own pace. So if you have students who work faster, they can work faster. If you have students who need, a little bit more processing time, they can work slower. And you can see on the teacher side, like each student has their name listed, and then it's like a green bar for every question that they get right and a red bar for every question that they get wrong. So you can see where they're going wrong, where they're going right, what you need to review, what they're understanding. And it just visually makes it much easier for you. And I like that students don't have to wait for other kids because if you're a slow processor and you need a little bit more time, you should be able to have that time. So yeah, because math is not about speed. Okay, off my soapbox. For our artistic students, I love utilizing gallery walks because students are able to create art using math concepts and vocabulary. Everyone hangs up their art on the wall. It makes a great decorative piece for your classroom, and it's just is a nice way for students to incorporate art, a little bit of writing and math. So what I do is you can see here, this is like my part of my little gallery walk here. Here's just a little more up close pictures. So I will assign each student a math concept, and you can have like, I can assign more than one kid the same math concept. It's totally fine. But students will, write their math concept. So here I have one set of equations and distributed property. They'll write down like the definition of it and then give an example, a math example of what it is. It's just a fun, different way to review for the kids who prefer art. Okay, for our more creative students, I love allowing students to create their own board game and activities. Inside the membership, we have a ton of board game templates that you can use for them to create. So I give them the board game template, and then students they have to create questions for their board game. So what I like to do, so it's not like this overarching, I might again give students a math concept. So I might have, you can assign this individually, in pairs, in groups, whatever you want to do. I've done variations of all of them. So I might have a student, or each group, like I might say, hey, you are responsible for making a board game about distributed property. The next group, okay, you are responsible for making a board game about finding slope, just finding slope. And then the next group could be, hey, you are responsible for creating a board game about graphing lines in slope intercept form. So you give them like the overarching topic, and then they create the questions to go along with the board game. And you can assign however many questions you want. You can say, 10 to 15, minimum 10, right? Like in my class, it's always a minimum of 10 questions. Or if it's like, if I have a group of 3, I might say minimum of 15. So each kid creates 5 questions. I do not want one kid creating all the questions, right? So you kind of, depending on how big your grouping is. But if it's like one, if you're assigning, each, oh my God, if an individual kid, one student is making the board game, maybe it's only 10 questions, because doing that can be a lot. They can get as creative as they want. It's really no prep, because like I'm giving everything that they need. They create the test questions. They could use index cards. They can use paper, just cut them into little squares. Like it's really not a ton of work on the teacher's end. And then finally two more. For our Comp Bs, competitive kids, I love to play grudge ball. We do have another video that you might want to check out, all about test prep games, like whole class games. Grudge ball is always at the top of my list because it's so fun. The kids beg to play, and I love it too. So basically, the rundown really quickly, if you want more of an in-depth description of how I do this, please watch that other video. But you break your class up into a few teams. I like to do 3 to 4 teams, depending on how big my class is. Each team consists of, 5 to 6, really no more than 6, because 6 gets very big. Each team gets 10 lives. So you can see right here in my photo, you can see groups 1, 2, and 3. They have 3 lives, or 10 lives right there. I will put one question underneath my document camera. If we start at team 1 better be ready to answer. And I tell them, team 2 and team 3, you better also be ready to answer too. Just because it's not your turn doesn't mean you just get to sit there and chat with your neighbor. You need to be ready to answer, because if team 1 gets it wrong, team 2 better be there ready to steal. And if they're just sitting there talking to their neighbor and they're not ready they're not ready to answer, too bad, so sad. I will move on to team 3 and they've lost their turn. So they got to be ready. If team 1, let's just say, gets the answer correct, then one person from their team can come up and take the life of another team. So now one of the teams is down to 9 lives. That same person, or they can elect someone else to come up and take a Nerf ball that I have in class and attempt to throw it and make it into the Nerf basket. You do need a Nerf ball and you do need a Nerf basket. I bought one from Target for $25. And it's the same one that I've used all of these years. If they make it into the basket, great. They can come up and take another life from another team, or the same team that they took from before. If they miss, okay, great. Good try. We move on to the next question. Okay. Last team standing wins. It's so fun. I love this game. Highly recommend. And then finally, for our kinesthetic learners, kids that need to kind of get the wiggles out, move a little bit, I love using Scoot. I love using the power of task cards. If you're not using task cards, it's truly an amazing tool. So versatile. Inside the Pre-Algebra Teachers Math membership, we have a ton of task cards for you to use. But basically what you do is you set up one card per desk, right? So students are only solving one question at a time. And I usually give, depending on like how in-depth the question is, anywhere between 45 seconds to 60 seconds to solve. So I'll set my timer first to say let's just say 45 seconds. I say, okay, everyone, 3, 2, 1, go. The timer starts, 45 seconds. Everyone has 45 seconds to answer their question. They'll hear my alarm clock go off, and then everyone will scoot to the next question, right? And then we'll do it all over again. So it's really great because they're only working on one problem at a time. There's a time limit and the time limit should match how long you think the question should take, right? Like if I'm only reviewing integers, I might not give 60 seconds. That might be too long. I might give 30 seconds because integers, it's like 3 minus 5, right? That should be very quick. And I don't want my students sitting there like for a whole minute if they don't need a whole minute. But if it's a little bit longer, like this, what you see in the picture here is orders of operation, I might give 45 seconds and see like how quickly the kids are solving it. If they're struggling and need more time, then I could change it to 60 seconds, right? But I don't want them to be sitting around bored and wasting time. I want to kind of find that sweet spot of how long each question like is taking and to provide the appropriate amount of time, I guess is what I should say. All right, check out our next video and that's it. So we covered in this video strategies for our tech-loving students, strategies for our artistic students, strategies for our competitive comp beast kids, strategies for our creative students, and strategies for our kinesthetic learners. Check out our next video where I'm going to be sharing with you how to think of test prep like a video game so everyone is successful on the state test. Register for our next free training all about state test prep for success, specifically for middle school math teachers like you and me, where I will show you everything that you need to prepare your students for state testing with easy, relevant, and practical math strategies that you can use and get started with right away. And at the end of the training, you'll be able to download a certificate for 1 hour of professional development. Can't wait to see you soon. Bye for now.